The excerpt of We've Only Just Begun by the Carpenters that I'll be teaching you today contains 6 different chords that you'll play with your left hand and a very simple melody that you'll play with your right hand. You can download the free specialized sheet music of We've Only Just Begun by clicking on the link directly below this video player. If you've already printed out the sheet music, then let's get started. Now, you may have noticed that the music looks very elementary, but I promise you, this is all you need to create a professional, full-sounding piano arrangement. It's very easy to do, and I'm going to show you how to do it in this short 10-minute video lesson. Also, it's best to learn the right hand and left hand parts separately, and then when you can play each part comfortably, then you want to put both hands together. So, if you're ready, let's start with the right hand melody. Okay, here is our right hand melody to We've Only Just Begun by the Carpenters. Now, our first note of the song starts on that D directly above middle C. There's middle C. There is our starting melody note. So we're going to start with our first finger. We're going to play those first 3 notes using our first 3 fingers. Now we have a jump up to this high G, so we're going to use, so our closest finger to that D is our 5th finger, so we're going to jump up, use our 5th finger, come back down to that B with our 3rd finger. Now it's always a good idea to write in the fingering as you go. So those first 3 notes, write in a 1 under the D, a 2 under the E, and a 3 under the G. Now, when you jump up to that D, it's kind of logical that you're going to use your 5th finger, but still, if you're new to this, you might want to write in the 5th finger if you need to. Now, when you come back to that B, you can write in a 3 there, although that's kind of a natural, it's just naturally, if you get your 5th finger on that D, you're naturally going to come down on your 3rd finger. But once again, if you're new at this, write it in. Okay, so now we're at that D. So now we're at the, so that's the D there in the B minor measure. The last measure of line 1, we're going to have to lift the whole hand up and get our 4th finger on that F sharp. Okay, now if you get your 4th finger there, you're just going to use your fingers in a row, go right in order, 4, 3, and 2. But really the only one you really have to write in is just the 4 on the F sharp, because you're coming from that D and the measure before that. So since you're lifting the whole hand up and switching to a new finger, it's good to write it in. So write in a 4 over that F sharp. Okay, beginning of line 2, you want to go with your thumb on that B. Now it looks like we're out of fingers, and we still have 2 more low notes that we have to get to. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring your 2nd finger over on that A, and then you're going to bring your thumb around, and now you have enough fingers to finish that. So write in a 1 on the B. We're at the beginning of line 2 here, so 1 on the B, bring your 2nd finger over on the A, bring your thumb around, and then with your 1st finger on that G. So you're going to write in 1, 2, 1. Now we're going to jump back up to that F sharp. Once again, we're going to use our 4th finger. Reason being, we're going to play the F sharp twice, but the reason being is we have that G above it. So if we get our 4th finger on that F sharp, then we have a finger available for those 2 high Gs. Alright, so write in 4 over that F sharp. Okay, we're coming back down. You might want to write in a 3 over that E. Okay, we're on the last measure. So put your thumb on that B, so write in a 1 over that. Now what you're going to do, because naturally your 2nd finger is going to want to come down on that C, but if you bring your 3rd finger over and play that C, now you have enough fingers to get all the way down to that A. So that last measure, write in a 1 over the B, 3 over the C, a 2 over the B, and then that'll give you your thumb available for that low A. Okay, so that's the proper fingering for this short excerpt from We've Only Just Begun. Replay this as many times as necessary, and when you feel comfortable, move on to the next part, and I will teach you the chords, the left-hand chords, to We've Only Just Begun. Okay, the left-hand chords to We've Only Just Begun starts with the G major chord. So here's middle C. We're going to go to that first G to the left of that. We're going to start with our pinky, and our G chord is G, B, and D. So you can use your pinky, middle finger, thumb. A good alternative to that would be your ring finger, your pointer, and your thumb. So either fingering will work, whichever one is more comfortable for you. So either pinky, middle finger, thumb, or ring finger, pointer, and thumb. Okay, so our first chord is G, B, and D. And if you have to, write in the notes of each chord right above the symbol. Write them in exactly the way you're going to play them. So from left to right, if you want to write these in, just write in G, B, and D. Okay, we're going to move to the left for our next chord in measure 2, which is the C major chord, which is C, E, and G. Okay, our next chord is a B minor chord. So we're just going to move one to the left. We're going to go B, D, and F sharp. Now, so let me do that with both hands so you can see the notes. So you want B, D, and F sharp. Now what you may have to do with this one, you'll notice how I had to slide my hand up so my thumb could reach that. So, and once again, 4-2-1 or 5-3-1. This chord may feel a little awkward in the beginning. Some people like it with the 4-2-1. Some people like with the 5-3-1. So try both fingerings and see which one works better for the B minor chord. So once again, B minor is B, D, and F sharp. And if you have to move your hand up here to get to feel comfortable playing that F sharp, you can do that. Okay, next chord is the E minor chord. So we're going to move to the right from the B minor. We're going to go E, G, and B for the E minor chord. By the way, you know a chord is minor. The last two chords we just played, the B minor and the E minor, you'll notice that little M next to the chord symbol. That little M stands for minor. If it's a major chord, like the first two chords of the song, the G major, you'll notice that you just see the letter all by itself. It's not like you see a big M right after it or anything written after it. If you see the letter and you don't see anything written after it, you assume major. So G is a major chord, C is a major chord. Now our next two chords have that little M. So the B is a minor chord, and our E is a minor chord. Okay, line 2, our first chord. Once again, we have an A minor chord. So coming from the E minor, we're going to move to the right. A minor is A, C, and E. Next chord, we go back to the E minor chord. E, G, and B. Move right again to the A minor chord. A, C, and E. And then the last chord of the song is a D major chord. So we're going to move left and we're going to play D, F sharp, and A. So our middle note is a black key. Okay, a sharp is just, so a regular F, or what we call an F natural, would be the white key. To make this a sharp, we would just raise it a half a step. So here's F natural, here's F sharp. The chord we're playing, D major, is D, F sharp, and A. Okay, that's the left-hand chords to We've Only Just Begun. Replay this part as many times as necessary, and when you feel comfortable with the right-hand melody and the left-hand chords, you can move on to the next section and I'll show you how to play both hands together. Okay, here is We've Only Just Begun, both hands together. Now we're going to start with the G chord. Now you'll notice there is nothing written underneath that G chord. There are no notes for the right hand. And when I'm saying underneath it, I mean directly below it. So directly below that G you see a rest. So that rest is telling us not to play anything in the right hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the G chord. Now our first note in the right hand is that D. And now actually we have a collision problem here because our first melody note is the top note of the G chord. So what you can do here is you can play the G chord, and when it's time to bring that right hand in, just kind of move the thumb out of the way and that'll allow you to play the melody note. Okay, that's all of the melody notes for that G measure. So now we're at measure 2. Now as I'm getting ready to play that B, okay, you'll notice now that there is a chord that lines up with that note. So that B and the C chord is directly above that B melody note. So that tells you to play both of them together. Okay? Okay, now we're at measure 3. I'm getting ready to play this high D with my right hand. That lines up with the B minor chord, so I'm going to play the D in my right hand and the B minor chord with my left hand. Okay, we're at the last measure of line 1. Once again, you'll notice that E minor chord, there are no melody notes underneath it, so you play the E minor chord all by itself and then finish the notes in the right hand. Okay, we are at the beginning of line 2. So our right hand note is going to be a B. That lines up with the A minor chord in the left hand. So they get played together. There are no other chords in that measure, so just keep the A minor chord held down and finish the melody notes. Okay, next measure we have an E minor chord. Once again, there are no melody notes underneath the E minor chord symbol. So you play the chord all by itself and then finish the rest of the notes for that measure. Okay, last measure of this excerpt. We have 2 chords in this measure. So our next note in the right hand is the B. That lines up with the A minor chord. And now we have the last note of the song, the A. I'm getting ready to play it with my thumb. That lines up with the D chord. The D chord's directly above it. So they get played together. Okay, let me play this up to speed now. Okay, so that's We've Only Just Begun, both hands together. Now you may notice as I was playing through that, there were some parts where it just kind of, it needed a little bit more to kind of keep it going. The 2 measures that stood out to me that needed something a little bit more were the C measure and the B minor measure in line 1. So I'm just going to do something here. I'm just going to add an extra chord to both of those measures. And I'm just going to play the same chord, but I'm going to kind of play it again right in the middle of the measure. And I think it'll just fill up the measure a little bit more and kind of push the rhythm along. So let me try that again. So here we go. I'm going to take those 2 measures and add an extra chord. Now you can do this for every measure. You can do it wherever you want, but these 2 measures, in my opinion, need just a little bit more. So here we go. Okay, so that is We've Only Just Begun, both hands together. My name is Guy Fawkes. I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial, and this is EasyChordPianoLessons.com.